Battle Card Series 1. This is a series of print and play games from Postmark Games, designers Niels Johansson and David Thompson. David Thompson is a designer that I've really liked a lot of his stuff. He bridges the gap very well between what you would call strategy, war game, some conflict simulation games, with Eurogamer sensibilities, perhaps, on some of his designs. And I like a lot of what he has done. And so this is a bit of a minimalist, small little conflict game, war game, micro game. Niels Johansson has been a graphic designer in that space for a long time, and I really like the look of these. This kind of minimalist map over here on the side. You're going to be controlling units represented by dice. I'm going to, in fact, do a little bit of an overview on each of these three games, and then I'll tell you my thoughts. Here's one of the maps set up here, the Malayan campaign in this case, and the other ones here, we're going to have different setup rules and different win conditions. You are playing against the Japanese forces here. They're pushing you back, so you're trying to either retreat to Singapore or be able to fight and successfully take out one of the Japanese units of troops on the board here. The first step, allies can withdraw. You can move troops back. In this case, when you withdraw, it says you reduce the strength of the troop, move it back, and then you merge the strength of the troop together. The second step is the Japanese will advance. Then you go to the battle phase, where you're going to be rolling the die, the combat die, against each of the areas where you have a conflict. You roll against this chart. There's either no Japanese advantage in numerical forces, or a Japanese advantage, or a Japanese 3-to-1 strength advantage. I rolled a 2, 3, or 4, so I'm going to reduce the strength of my troops by 2, and their troops by 1. We go to the Allied air support phase. As long as the Allies have troops here in Kuantan, which has the airstrike symbol, I can do 1 strength of damage to one of the Japanese troops. Lastly, you advance the turn marker. So you have 6 rounds to try to successfully retreat troops back without having one of the win conditions, running out of time, or if the Japanese troops are able to advance here into Endao and eliminate the Allied troops there. If they're alone, they will win. Postmark Games has done things like this before. Other companies have this model of Kickstart, a print-and-play kind of series of games. I think it's a very smart little line or idea, product model, but for me, I don't like it because I'm lazy. And I recognize that that's about me, right? I don't particularly like the idea of printing sheets repeatedly. What attracted me to this, beyond the designer's pedigree, is the fact that this is a one-time print. You don't mark on here, you use the dice to manipulate everything. So I was attracted because guess what, I'm done. I now have this game, so I like that idea. The actual games, the little micro games, are good. They lack the intimacy and the care about the individual people that a lot of the David Thompson games do. Pavlov's House and his solo game series, Resist, and some of his other designs where you care more about the people. And yet, even though these are so abstracted down, they do have a different feel, and you still look at these as, yes, pips on dice, but as units, as representing units of humans, representing people that survive these conflicts. I think they did a good job of making 3 very different games, even though they're micro games and they're slight in a lot of ways, and they last 5, maybe 10 minutes. I like what they're doing, and they're distinct. In the Malayan campaign, the idea of retreating and trying to have a strong enough force retreat, or to be able to take out one of the Japanese units, it feels good that there's this alternate win condition, and I really like that one. The next one here, where you're the Canadian forces trying to push in against Germany, feels totally different. And this one is fun, and I do like that the turn track not only has the regular turn track, but also, depending on a die roll, different weather conditions, and so in such a small framework, you've still been able to simulate some of those aspects of weather conditions, rolling against charts and stuff. But then this one here, Mortain, the idea where you are trying to maintain a unit over here on the hill 314, because they're going to be able to bombard different areas, and you will not win this one if you don't maintain that properly. So it's this clever, interesting struggle of how do you kind of manage your resources. I think that these are 3 very different feeling maps from each other, despite their simplicity. I really like what's happening. And on this particular one, I sit there and I really care about these people over here on the hill. and yet the loss condition being these people over here makes me worry about them. This is the one that makes me feel a little bit more, I think, out of the three in here. As I said, David Thompson is a designer who I think can pull out that history and that simulation aspect a little bit, and keep the theme strong. And this one, because there's so minimalist, you don't get a lot of that, but you get little moments of it, and I appreciate that in the design. I think this is a great system. I'm looking forward to Series 2. I'm going to be playing this one more. I think that this works so well. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 because for the amount of investment, how hard these are to learn, they're so simple. You get a lot out of it in that ratio. Difficulty of learning versus the play you can actually pull out of it. I know for a lot of people you're going to say this is too slight, but I'm really attracted to these ones. And I love the fact that this is all of the rules printed on the side of each sheet. You can learn by just following the steps. You might lose your first game because you made some choices. Oh well, set it up again, go again. These are neat. I'm very happy with these, so an 8 out of 10 for the Battle Card series. Series 1, like I said, looking forward to more.